We are
How's it
back
going?
with another episode. This one is kind of like on the fly because you just wanted to be in it, huh?
Oh, I just wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
I was begging him, guys.
No, because you're supposed to be in it like tomorrow, but then you're like, oh, let's hop in real quick.
Yeah, it's a rough draft.
But
What you mean?
before we start, as you can see what's on the table right here, we gotta crack one for the boys real quick.
Oh, I get to drink one?
Yeah, go ahead and pick one.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Let's see. Blueberry lemonade.
All right, bet.
Dang, they got a lot of selections. Goat
So-
fuel, huh?
Yeah.
Naturally flavored, zero sugar.
So
Wow.
we found our new energy drink. Not sponsored yet.
Ronaldo
Goat
can
Fuel.
drink these, bro. With zero sugar.
I thought you a Messi fan, no?
I am a Messi fan.
What you think?
Bro, this is fire. This is fire.
All right, as you guys can see, Shahir's not on the podcast today,
It's pretty good.
but that's fine because I have another, guest on here,
Another goat.
another goat. He's a homie of mine, close friend. We've been knowing each other since what, 7th grade?
Damn, bro. I don't know. 6th, 7th? Yeah, 7th grade.
7th grade. So it's been about, I would say 9-10 years now. Happy to have him on the podcast. We're just gonna, talk to him a little bit, see.
He's super happy.
All right, bro. So who are you and what do you do right now?
All right, guys. So my name is Flava Flav. My name is Aram. I do a little bit of everything, dude. You're gonna have to get into it
All
because
right. So this is the jack of all trades, but is it master of none or master of all?
master of a couple. What you
All
mean?
right, all right.
A master of a couple.
All right, again. I'm gonna reintroduce him. All right, this is my friend Aram. He's a 6-figure stock trader, 6-figure drop shipper. Has his
Bro,
own,
keep my shit secret, bro.
has his own clothing brand, 6-figure businessman, future James Cameron.
He's lying, bro. I don't have money.
All right, bro. So you're in the film industry, right?
Absolutely.
Why? Why do you want to be in the film industry so bad?
So, like people that it takes a certain kind of person to really pursue film and filmmaking and movies, because think about it, right? We come from a family of immigrants and the last thing they want to hear is I'm going to go film movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I experienced that firsthand. Got a couple backhands here and there, but I just knew it was in me. I couldn't contain it. I tried to suppress it. I tried to really, conform, but it wasn't happening. So what kind of made me want to pursue it is like a passion. I guess in high school, I won this like national documentary contest, 3rd place. It was paid. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of money for a kid back then. It was like $750. This was like almost 10 years ago? Damn. No,
No, it's 2017.
like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what kind of shifted the mindset for not only me, but mostly for my parents. Nobody wants to hear their son say, I'm going to go shoot movies for a living, right? At least not immigrant parents because they don't really understand. So, I always just loved cameras. So it started with the love of cameras, right? Like illusions and faking stuff and making them look real. And then that kind of, started to progress as far as like good lighting and making stuff look beautiful.
Yeah.
After that, now I'm at a stage right now, which is the current stage where it's all about the story. Like I realized I have the power really to tell a story that I think is really important for people to kind of know about. So yeah, I started as a kid just wanting to shoot stuff. I would shoot stuff with my sister. Like she would dress up as Darth Vader and we'd make like little films. And,
Yeah.
I was like 13. I would make Lego stop motion stuff. But anyways, enough of all that. Again, it takes a certain kind of person to pursue film because a lot of people, I feel like there's a lot of people that would love to make movies, but they never give it like a serious thought. Like I feel like there's a lot of people out there that would love the idea of being an actor and actress, but they don't really believe that that's like a career or, really you can do, it's really easy, honestly. Let me rephrase that. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's really simple to like get into those circles really fast. Like all you really need is to grind it out for a year to get like, let's say if you're an actor or an actress, you grind it out for a year, get a demo reel, show up in a bunch of free projects. Now you have a portfolio. pitch that portfolio to an agent, right? A bunch of agents, send it to 10, 20, 30, right? Obviously the ones that make sense.
Yeah.
All you need is one to like sign you up, and now you have consistent work for the rest of your life.
And for you, like you graduated last summer, right?
Right.
But since beginning of 2022, that's when you really put your foot down and be like, yo, I'm gonna really grind out film, because I didn't expect you to take it as hard as you took it.
So it's kind of crazy, and I've never told you this. I have like mental paths. I know some people have vision boards. I kind of just put it in my head, like, and you can call it a New Year's resolution or whatever, but I have pivots. So everything that's got me to this exact point was a lot more calculated than you think. So 2021 and 2020, that was the years where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna build a foundation in a business. I don't care what it is, ended up being. From there on, I was like, okay, I have my backbone. I have my, income. I have worst case scenario, I can always fall back on that.
Right.
So then what happened then? Okay, now 2023, I'm going to pivot. Now that I have my foundation and, what's paying me, now I can at least, let off the gas a little bit and now pivot into like filmmaking.
Right.
So I started doing free projects, exactly like I said, but from like a cinematographer's perspective. I was shooting like all of these colleges films for free, like these college thesis films from Chapman. USC, I'd be on a couple sets. UCR, I was on a ton of sets. And I did it for free. But essentially, they got me a really good portfolio. Now, I'm still in the process. And you don't know this. Nobody knows this. But I'm getting together the best of the best demo reels. 2024 is when I'm going to pitch all my stuff to an agent. Once I get an agent, that's when you start getting like the real, like, big stuff, like $1,000 a day stuff for like cinematographers. But yeah, as far as like my pivots, it was at first, obviously, school, but during school, I started my business. So, and after the business, now it's my passion.
Yeah.
So right now, currently, I'm in my passion stage.
Oh yeah. So I've texted you this too, but I see that you and our homie Elijah wanted to create a community of filmmakers. And a lot of people, they don't have that experience or they have that networking group. So for them who's in the film industry and we want to get their foot in the door is very hard.
Story shorts.
So you have created that opportunity. And I honestly think it's going to be your biggest project. I've texted you this. Bigger than
Why
anything.
do you think that?
Huh?
Why do you think that?
Because I think there's social proof behind it. Word spread fast when it's free. Because they get to put in work for free, obviously, because it's still very little. But in the return, they get free portfolio.
Yeah.
And once you put out like, we have a script, we want to produce this once a month, anyone can basically invest a day in for free to get portfolio to make them look good. So I think it's like a mutual benefit. And I really think it's gonna get big, bro. Because you're already seeing numbers basically.
Why do you think it's gonna be big? Like, what aspect of it, or how are you looking at it? I guess because for me, I'm thinking like this is like really just another stepping stone in my big master plan. You have no idea what I have planned. Like I have it.
No, I believe you.
And essentially, the way I look at story shorts is I'm building a network. So everybody that I kind of rub shoulders with, eventually they're gonna become a somebody.
Yeah.
Right. If they stick with it. Same with me. I'm obviously going to become a somebody, whether it's next year or in the next 10 years, right? But the idea is to kind of have that network so we can refer each other. If we work well on a free set, then it's obvious we're going to work great on a paid set.
What I would say is story shorts is not only like, let's say if it gets big, right?
Yeah. So I look at it like as a network.
Yeah.
I look at it as like building our portfolio just like that.
Right.
I don't look at it as like this is going to get big. That's why I'm like, what do you see that I may not see?
So what I'm seeing is kind of like Wong Fu, right? Where it serves as a network. Every project you give someone a chance to direct and see where their strengths and weaknesses are, not only for you, but only for them as well, right? So they get to hands-on experience instead of in school.
Okay.
It's very, this and that.
Is that what they did? Is that what Wong Fu did?
Yeah. Wong Fu brings people on board and they get a chance to write and direct too. And that's one thing. Number two, you build a network. Number three, if it gets big, you can use that as, funding for bigger projects.
Yeah, like I get where you're coming from.
But number four is that it serves as a portfolio. And like, let's say you directed a short, right? it gets a huge amount of traction. You can bring this short and the script to a studio, be like, hey, look, this is a short version of it. If it's already picking up,
Yeah.
I know that, with the right funding.
I'm gonna tell you something, and it's kind of like a rant. That what you just said used to be how it went. Like it used to be like you have a really good story, you pitch it to a studio,
Right.
they kind of add a little bit here and there for that mainstream flair, and you get funding. Those were like the Martin Scorsese days, Quentin Tarantino. Like you really think a studio right now would fund something that Tarantino like would do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if it's a nobody, like let's say I wrote Pulp Fiction, no studio is gonna give a shit because they think it's not gonna do well. Because guess what? Marvel ruined filmmaking. Marvel ruined it. Okay, now don't get me wrong. There's some amazing production quality and like it's just like it's amazing. It's amazing filmmaking, but they kind of ruined it for like the others. It's really good filmmaking, like, but it's not good storytelling. I hope that didn't come off as too crazy, but what I'm trying to say is the idea of a box office success is now tied to nostalgia, where before it was just pure creativity, like Fight Club. Like you don't see movies like that anymore. Right. You really don't. You don't see movies like Pulp Fiction just come out of thin air. Like everything nowadays that does end up doing great, it's because the cast is insane or Marvel's behind it. Think about it.
What about Avatar?
Like Avatar, that was the same thing. It was because it was clout, nostalgia from a 10-year, like, a movie that came out 10 years ago. But like anything that has to do with a box office hit now, and as far as like funding is concerned, it's usually, if it's a hit, it was done with a really low budget and they had a really hard time getting any funding. Like, Parasite, like what happened with Squid Game. How much like times he pitched that script, right?
Yeah.
Like insane.
I think back in 2008 or 2007 when he pitched it, they said it was too gory.
I know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because it's really hard to convince studio these days that a good story sells. That's why you see it like, oh my God, how many Marvel films have you seen come out just in like the last 2 years alone?
Right.
Right?
And that's why when I see that story short has potentials, because who's that director for Lights Out?
Lights Out was, I think his name's Pony Smasher on YouTube. David Sandberg, I think. So
he had Lights Out as like a mini film on YouTube.
Exactly.
So it showed proof of concept and it got big, and that's why studios allowed him to, have a budget for all that.
So what he did is he won film festivals.
Right.
So there's the film festival route. If you don't want to go like the whole agent route or whatever, you can go the film festival route. And then studios, the next time they have a project that kind of correlates to what you just directed, then they'll pick you up. And that's how he got picked up for Annabelle Creation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was James Wan that directed those, no?
No, David Sandberg, like he directed, I think it was Annabelle 2 or 3.
Okay.
So when they needed a director because for whatever reason they fell through or their deal wasn't there,
all right,
they picked someone in that genre that already is proven, that knows what they're doing. And they just go with him because he won a couple awards. So it's really tricky, man. Like,
all right, let me ask you this though.
Like even Annabelle, again, that's also like on nostalgia. It's like an age-old story. Like nothing is original, Parasite, that was like a diamond in the rough. I have yet to see it too. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Dune, again, nostalgia. That's a book.
Right.
A lot of these big blockbusters, it's either nostalgia or there's big star power involved. How often do you see a box office hit that doesn't have someone well known, or it's not off of nostalgia?
What do you think about Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Oh man, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, man. I'm gonna get a lot of hate.
Cause to me, the VFX team was like 3 people.
Again,
and a lot of shots
amazing
were
filmmaking,
on
but
the phone, bro. Like
again,
all the VFX, like where she's going through dimensions and stuff. The director just took a phone and walked through like New York City or something, and they just sped it up. And a lot of it is like, they can't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, stuff like that, again, it's impressive. Just like all the Marvels and Avengers stuff, it's really impressive. The green screen stuff, extremely impressive. I couldn't imagine doing something like that right now, not even in the slightest. But like at the end of the day, like if I don't feel different, walking out of that movie theater, or if I don't change my perspective on something, or I at least don't question like something that has to do with like what the movie's trying to tell me, I kind of feel like, you know, again, that's my perspective on movies. A lot of people think it's just entertainment. I just have such a close tie to cinema that I feel like it has to be impactful. And that's not to mean like it has to like, oh, change me from like, you know, like a political party to a different political party, but like at least make me feel something that I didn't know I could feel, or make me change my mind on something, or at least bring insight into something that I had little knowledge about. You know, like for me, films is always about like teaching you how to feel, teaching you about a certain thing, teaching you like that certain feelings within you exist, and not only teaching you, but then you also learning from that teaching.
So let me ask you this:
that might have been a little too much for you guys.
Why do you like franchises like Star Wars and Indiana Jones?
Oh my goodness!
I mean, because they're pretty like every movie is kind of like the same thing.
And here's the thing, and this is an example of like the fans, right, versus like what really happened in the box office.
Right.
The new Star Wars films, absolute garbage.
Basura.
But the fact that they got funded because of nostalgia, right? So going back to that, but as far as like why do I like it, dude? Those first 6 films, like before the new trilogy, they made you like, they had story. They also had a whole world that you were introduced to, but they did it in a way where it's like these people are recurring. There's like, you know, you kind of feel familiar. You kind of know the world, because they don't just skim through like a person or something. Like it's recurring through scenes like Mace Windu. He was there throughout a lot of movies, so you kind of feel familiar with him.
Okay.
Yoda, like people love Yoda. Why? Because he's such a wise character, you know, and it's like it teaches you. He's like the teacher in the whole films. But the reason why I like it is because it was really original. So it's the classic like person goes out to, you know, just journey and fight someone to save the galaxy, right? That's the surface story. But then you have like those layers, and those layers are what really enticed me as a filmmaker. How they could make something as silly, quote unquote, like intergalactic fighting, as layered as George Lucas made it. I feel like that's why it was so enticing, because it wasn't just Republic versus, you know, you know, it wasn't just Darth Vader versus the rebels. It was also father versus son, you know. It was also like son getting mentored. It was also son, like, you know, Luke Skywalker I'm talking about here is also him constantly being like, you know, dragged into, what's the word? Like being pulled away from the Force, but like not letting him, you know. So it's also like, it's relatable. Like a lot of people fall to temptations. That's kind of like what the temptation for Luke was.
So if that's the case, if you like layers, why don't you like Jordan Peele's movie?
I do like Jordan Peele's movies. It's just they're too on the nose.
You think so?
They're really on the nose,
like
bro.
spoon-fed type thing? Or?
Very spoon-fed. I know that was your introduction of like layers, but if you saw some of the older movies, you'd understand that type of filmmaking has been around for decades.
Yeah, because I know both me and you started UCR both wanting to be film student, but you kept your path, and I was like, that's not for me.
Yeah, you wanted more commercial.
Yeah, and I also saw that I was kind of afraid that once you get into the Hollywood industry, that's when you start becoming like giving up morals and corrupting, because you know how toxic that is. So do you want to touch base on what you've seen so far?
Listen.
And like once you get big, do you think that's gonna happen to you or no?
Absolutely not. And I can say that with full confidence.
Why so?
I know some people can say like, no, like I don't think that would ever be me, blah, blah, blah. Like I've gotten to a point, right, where my reputation, my word, my image is 10 times more important than any dollar amount.
Right.
Because if you like, I've had this revelation before, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You have all this money, right? Let's say someone tells you, I'll give you $1 million, but you have to put like an explicit photo of yourself on the internet for everybody to see.
Right.
Yeah, you have $1 million, but now you're like, your soul is tied to that.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So as you know, the dollar amount, whatever you spend that dollar in that moment, it's gonna feel great, cool. Yeah, you buy a yacht, but on that yacht party, everybody's gonna like always know in the back of their head, like, oh dang, Nam did this for his money, like, and it's always gonna have a very subconscious kind of tone on. It's like, it's how you're perceived. Like I'm really huge, and my girlfriend like analyzed this shit, and I was like, this is bullshit. Like the whole astrology stuff, I'm like, that's bullshit, right? At first, I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. I still think it's kind of like, okay, it's.
He thinks it's bullshit. If you're watching, he thinks it's bullshit.
I don't think it's bullshit. That's the thing where I'm trying to get at, but I still think it's like a little too nuanced as far as like how specific it is. But she said how the most core value of me before we even met, just because I told her my birthday, was respect. And it's true. Like I went through a lot of stuff with my family because there was lack of respect towards me, to the point where like I took it really extreme, because if there's no respect, there's no reason for me to kind of interact with you. So anyways, going back to the whole like selling your soul, I guess you're saying, right?
Because let me ask you this, because Hollywood,
I would never,
never,
even for $1 billion.
but there's always, but then you get blacklisted or blackballed out of the industry because there's
I'll be,
always shit
well,
coming
guess
out.
what? I'll be whitelisted in the name of God. That's how I look at it.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. So now, because of Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and all that, it kind of opens the door for independent filmmakers.
Exactly.
Kind of like Rust, the Rust of
You
the
just
movie
literally
industry.
introduced something I was going to introduce as well.
Right.
So that's why we're very fortunate in this world, in this capacity. I mean, we're filming on cameras that
Right.
shoot 4K.
Okay.
10 years ago, these cameras would have cost like $20,000 a pop.
Easily.
Right? So we're very fortunate in the fact that that's happened. So we kind of need to take advantage of that. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that's also why I'm very confident that like I would never have to kind of relive what others relived as far as like the Hollywood route.
Yeah.
Because of all these new avenues that are available.
Right.
I could be in the comfort of my city. I don't even have to be in LA.
Okay.
And I could just sell my scripts and movies from the comfort of my home.
Yeah.
And I never have to like rub
Gotcha.
shoulders with those, I guess you'd say, like people that require you to sign certain things. Like,
Yeah.
And we're in a day and age where like you can be so self-sufficient and so
Easily,
financially
yeah.
free, but it's just a matter of education.
Yeah.
Like, you tell like someone, hey, can you film this for me? And they have zero knowledge of what even filming is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would never, ever do anything.
And do you
never,
think-
never.
And do you think faith has something to do with that?
Fate.
Like you being a strong Christian.
Oh, you mean faith?
Yeah, faith. Like, do
Oh.
you think like because you're religious, your moral compass is pointing in the right direction, you fear God, and that's what's gonna keep you? Or do you think even if you're not religious, that wouldn't still happen?
I don't know. I can't really speak on behalf of the people that are not religious and how they kind of tackle these kind of questions. But I do know that for that same reason, it obviously has something to do with religion. But I think it's still like a respect thing. Like I feel like someone that's still an atheist, as long as they have those core values of respect,
Yeah.
they're not going to want to look like a scumbag, or they're not going to want to look like lesser than, for whatever dollar amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't really, like you can't bribe me is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because I've seen it with my own eyes to where like even with friends, when it comes to a money matter, you'd rather just not care about it. Because we've seen a fair share of people who very nickel and dime over things. And for you, you're like, I don't care. Like I'd rather get effed over
Nickel
than
and
me
diming.
effing other people over. That's what I've seen with my own eyes.
Yeah, that's what I said. I would rather get fucked over and learn than to stress about every little thing that has to do with money, right? Like money is the most abundant resource,
And that's exactly why like we don't believe in
We
gatekeeping.
we print money, guys.
Exactly.
We print money. Money is debt. If you hold $1 bill, you're holding debt from the government. Like,
Exactly.
so that's why I don't know. I feel like there's bigger issues to stress about than, being rich or making money. Like, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. If it wasn't so expensive to live in this kind of world, and if I could just shoot movies and just have my basic necessities like paid for, I would do that for the rest of my life.
So movies like your end all be all. Like what if you could do that over stock trading?
Yeah, again, stock trading, guess what?
Yeah.
That's just an instrument to unlock more sets,
Yeah.
more cameras, right?
Right.
It all comes down to
Okay.
movie making, real shit. And
Would you rather
I've had this
produce
convo.
a decent movie, like with like whatever, like it flops or whatever, but it still makes some profit, or a banging documentary? Which one would you do?
Documentary. Documentaries are not really my end all. So I would rather, try my hand at a short film and whatever happens. Just because I love story and like characters. I love characters like just as much as story. And I feel with documentaries, you can't really do certain things with characters because they're already written in the
Right.
world, by Jesus,
Right.
by God if you're religious, or by Adams if you're not. But I don't know. I would rather make a short film. Yeah. If someone's told me, hey, I have a gig for you, it's $500 for the day. Can you come direct it? And I'll be like, okay, what is it? And one person said it's a documentary. Another person said it's a short film. I'm gonna go for the short film, like without hesitation. Like literally, I'm like documentary short. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's it. That's all it takes.
All right, from the top of your head right now, give me your top 5 movie ever.
We can't do this right here.
No, you gotta.
We can't do this.
'cause the thing
we gotta
is-
do this in another episode.
I'm not-
because you just introduced me. They can't know too much, dude. They can't know too
All
much.
right, all right. Top 5 directors.
Top 5 directors, like I can't, dude. You gotta. They gotta find out. They gotta keep watching other episodes.
You trying to come back, bro?
Yeah. The biggest thing that I would change in an instant, if I could go back in time, is not dating until I finish college. That would be my number one thing that I would like recommend anybody. That's only if you know that you're gonna be an entrepreneur and you're gonna like do things differently. That would be my number one thing. Okay. Now I don't regret it. I don't regret any of my relationships. They all teach me something, There's obviously at one point a lot of kind of like positivity. But at the end of the day, I prefer if I would have because I've gone through depression. Everybody's gone through depression. Everybody has shit. Like, you know what I mean? And it's how you deal with it, yeah. But it's like, if I could have avoided those years of my life, and I'm talking about like depression years, I feel like I probably would have been a lot more, I guess, enthusiastic in certain things. But at the same time, that's kind of what caused a lot of good things to happen. I would say, do not get in relationships. If you can just hold off, wait till you finish college at first and at least start like your business. And again, this is if you're trying to recreate like the whole business path, the whole like self-sufficient path. Yeah. But if you want to get married young and you want to go straight into the workforce, then by all means go and get like, start dating and stuff like that. But so if you want to do film, like it depends if you want to be a director or DP, there's kind of little mini paths you have to move. But overall, I would say just get on set. Just get on set, get used to it, get comfortable on set, get efficient on set, and just keep doing it to the point where people start calling you back. People are going to start calling you back and paying for you. So and Facebook was kind of a part of it, but a lot of times I just created my own sets. So like, the biggest thing was I would just pick up the camera, get like 2 or 3 buddies, like RV Mystery. We just picked up a camera and we shot something because it was for a school project. That taught me more than any book I ever read on film, So just create the sets if you can't find any, but definitely go out and get free sets experience.
As we try to grow this podcast, just think that this podcast is not a space to attack anyone or to, we're just trying to see how people think and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's an intellectual
Yeah.
podcast.
As you can see, this man has a lot to offer. He's been through a lot of trauma and all that, so it makes us better people in general.
Oh yeah.
But we'll wrap it up, and I want to wrap it up. I want to wrap it up with this quote where dreams are just dreams if they're left on a pillow, right? So you have a dream, take action, take initiative to make it a goal and turn that goal into a reality. Put your head down, work hard, like how we're all doing here. And I hope we provided some insights on how you can get your foot started in the whole cinematic world, the whole filmmaking world. All right, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Endless Hours podcast, where the time flies, but the knowledge stays forever. And stay safe.